50 to reduce the debt going to the appropriated fund balance.
If we buy the truck.
No, if we don't buy it.
If we don't buy it.
If we buy it, then it's going to stay basically the way it is. That's it for...
Any questions? Kevin, you have anything you want to say?
No, just thank the board for their support and time and everything. It's important, and good working relationship we have, and we can get our stuff done. The system's well maintained and everything, and we upkeep with everything. We address our problems and our needs and try to fit it in there in a timely schedule over the years. You know, our system's old, so but we maintain it. We have a tight system, a good running plant, and costs money to maintain it. And the board is here to support us on that. That's how we maintain the quality of water coming out, so it's important to us.
One thing I didn't mention, the salaries are contractual based on labor agreements. And even if the contract hasn't been settled, most of the agreements call for a minimum increase, which we figured in this year at 2%, which doesn't mean that's all they're going to get, but when the contract is settled, they might get a higher increase, or maybe it might go down, but for right now, it's 2% over what they got the year before.
Kevin, there'll be some more questions.
Yep.
Anyone at the table will ask you whatever.
Sure.
I have a few. I have a few that I want to look at.
Yeah, that's no problem.
I'll talk to you about. Nothing further.
Thank you. Appreciate all your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
We'll have the highway department.
You just went out of the room. Oh, he came back.
If you want to get notes from Kevin, they won't help. Pat, I'm going to say the same thing to you because it's deserved that I said to Kevin. The village board very, very, very much appreciates everything that you and the men are doing. You've been promoted. You're showing yourself to be a supervisor and lead the department. Everyone seems to be, the best they can be now, and they want to learn and they want to do. And I will tell you, only because someone came to my store today. Although in the last few days people have been telling me, but someone came to my store today now that has pushed me over to want to tell you something. The compliments that I'm getting about the Highland Falls sign at the south end of the village is wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I am so happy that you and I had talked and we came up that's theirs. Mm-hmm. Everything in the village that they take care of is theirs. It's ours, but you know what I mean. That's theirs. They can design it, they can pull, they can plant, they can light, they can do whatever they want. That's their showpiece. And I'm going to put a nice sign there saying that that's all being sponsored by the Department of Public Works. Because they deserve that recognition.
They are taking a lot of pride in that.
Yeah. A lot of pride.
Yeah.
And it's coming, and I just want you to know, because you need to tell them, it's
right.
showing.
Okay.
We're getting comments.
Good.
Thank you.
The positive comments are great.
Yep. All right.
Just that before Pat starts, Pat's responsible for several areas within the general fund budget. And to make life easier, we'll start with the earliest code number, which is central garage. Again, salaries won't be discussed. They're all contractual based on labor contracts, and we might be adjusting those up or down depending on if contracts do get settled before we have to adopt. So the first one that is the 1640, which is central garage. You'll note you won't have some numbers on your sheets because the clothing allowance has been added to 3 different codes of yours. 500 to the 1640.4, 500 to the street administration code, and it's a 2,000 to street maintenance. But that money you can't spend. It's spent already on their code amendments. Okay? So you're up as far as 1640.4, since there's no equipment under that code.
Pat, this is your first time,
Yes.
and I appreciate that. As we go, as Ralph has stated, let's start with the central garage,
Okay.
and let's start with 1640.4, the contractual. You have fuel oil. Did you, do you know the dollar amount you base that on, a gallon?
I didn't bring those figures with me for fuel oil.
We need to look at that because the world's going crazy, and that means the oil's gonna go crazy.
Right. We took an estimate.
Sorry, I didn't mean that.
I took an estimate on what it's been going up, and I'm hoping that it's even like the gasoline. I'm hoping that it doesn't. We don't pay $5 a gallon for gasoline, but I did up it.
I would
compared to
ask
what we're
you,
doing now.
I would ask you, because you mentioned to me these highway superintendents' monthly meetings, talk to them. Talk to some seasoned guys that have been around for a while. See what they're doing.
Right.
See what they're doing.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Put it all together, and we're gonna come back to that line item.
Okay.
And I'd suggest that you get together with Johnny and Kevin yourself. You
Mhm.
use the fuel oil with 3, I think all 3 of you do.
Right. We use a different amount. They know what they use.
Right,
They
right.
see
But
their
just
own
see
bills
what
and- yeah.
Come
But I
out with
think-
a price per
Yep.
gallon.
That we think. Okay.
You're in the best position, Pat, because of your connections, to get the best working price with an unknown economy in front of us. But then your number will be what they used to,
Mhm.
okay?
Okay.
You have the connections.
Yep. The telephone, we're estimating $2,000 for the year. We're in hopes that's gonna go down, but I can't guarantee yet, because we are gonna be switching over to the internet phone instead of Verizon, which is gonna be a savings. So that stayed the same for now. It's possible when we get up and running.
You feel it's gonna go down, though?
Yes, I
Our
do feel,
conversation.
yes, I feel it's gonna go down. It's gonna go down at least $20 to $30 a month. That's just on a level playing field. That's without any long distance calls. We won't be charged for them anymore. Where right now we're charged for long distance calls. We're charged all these other fees. Time Warner is just one fee is all you pay through Time Warner for the month.
I see the rest of your prices here, you've kept, the rest of your items you have here are the same as this year, correct?
I went up on paint and replacement tools. Most of that is because we are doing a lot of painting. And I want to continue that just for maintenance reasons and keeping our buildings together, and a lot of that is for the buildings. So, but the improvements that we're making, as everybody sees, that we need to do. The alarm system, I expect a small increase on that. We went up to 300 from 276 for the year. Internet service, we've never had internet service until this year down there, so that's a fee that we had to have, because, as I said, Gary never had internet.
And you combine that with telephone service,
That's still a separate,
but it's a separate.
right, it's a separate, because the phone service is 2 phone lines, our fax and our other one. So, and this year they said it's totally separate from that, so. And we don't get charged for the cable for right now, for the weather channel and the basic cable that we have, we don't get charged that, as we all know, which is a good thing. So,
The next code that falls under Pat is 5010. There's nothing in equipment for this year, but he does have contractual. I will make notation that he requested a clerk. That is a separate line now on the requested budget. It's not part of contractual, it's part of payroll items. So I moved it out of his contractual line. Therefore, it's based on what he requested, less that number. And this is another code that got the clothing allowance added into it. The other items are his.
Training's gone up, because I assume because you're gonna do more.
Yes, we have to do more. Today we talked to DEC and they gave us more classes that we have to have. They're mandatory classes. To keep the village up and running on the MS4, we have to have these classes in play.
That's where it's unfortunate that the state mandates these classes,
Right.
but they don't provide the funding.
Right.
And that's where you have to put it up.
And it's even like with the clerk that Ralph just mentioned is, I'm not trying to build an empire down there, but the problem is they keep on mandating all these classes, they keep on mandating all of these requirements for us that we have to do, that we have to keep up on with all the PESH. I just got a 3-page thing from PESH saying that we have to comply with these regulations now. We went over that last night, and it's so much paperwork involved in it. And it's not like,
Probably 3 dozen items on there that range everything from regular safety classes that we would use a weed whacker for, all the way to, fuel storage and
And you have to
et
keep,
cetera, and it's just,
separate files
just-
for each employee.
yes.
and we have to have a sign-in sheet. We have to teach everybody. I know it sounds silly to a lot of people, but we have to teach all of our employees how to use a fire extinguisher. And it's got to be documented a certain way, and it's, to do all that documentation is a lot, on top of trying to keep everything else we are responsible for going.
And the fines can be significant if you don't have
Yes.
that paperwork in place.
Absolutely.
When they walk in and say, give me the fine on
Right.
so.
Just as a comment about a clerk, if by chance the board said no to the clerk for highway, I don't believe there's any way that the staff downstairs, and Gina's sitting here, and that they can take on any more duties of keeping track of the regulations that DPW have to follow. So I'm not supporting the clerk completely, but I can understand with all of these new regs that it might be a necessity.
Believe me, I didn't want to put in for it. It's not something, you know how I am with saving, we're trying to save money, but it's something we kind of have no
If you
choice.
have a clerk where we work out of, you have space down in the garage.
I have enough space to work out of in my office.
How you take care of it right now? How you take your own paper?
I don't know if I should tell you in public. A lot of donated hours, to be honest with you. I don't put in for all the overtime because I don't feel it's fair to put in for all of it. But it gets to a point that you can't handle doing all of it. Because I could be down there, I could probably be down there until 8, 9 o'clock every night, but, so that's how I've been handling it.
And keep in mind, Patty's a working
Yeah.
superintendent as opposed to an administrative superintendent, mainly because of the size of this department. So it's a consideration that we have to discuss some more, but
So that came out then?
no, it's in the budget, but as a salary line.
Right,
Not as a contractual.
All right, let's,
His next code is 8110.2. He does have a request for equipment besides the contractual. It must be getting late. Fives and what dates look the same. Hey, talk about your truck, Pat.
The truck is, I took Mr. Perry for a ride in the truck. I let him drive the truck, actually. It's a 2001 Chevy truck that's been used and abused for 11 years. The truck is a 1-ton truck, and right off the bat, it has a half-ton spreader in it. Then you put the salt on this truck. Now you push uphill with this truck. It has no power to make it up Cider Avenue anymore, and that's not our steepest hill that it needs to go on. The truck is deteriorating bad with the rust. The engine is tired in it. I did some research, as if you look in the paperwork, I did all kinds of angles on pricing out a truck. I did a truck with a diesel engine. Then I took diesel into consideration and the new standards that we have to have urea for this, which is a additive that you have to put in a tank. The gas engine is cheaper. It should have just as much power, and it's like a $7,000 savings. So on a truck like this, we could go with a gas engine on it, because they make it strong enough. We can go with a little bit bigger spreader on it, which will be a backup to other trucks that they break. So, but it's time to replace that truck. How much do we have in the budget? Okay.
And that is state bid prices that you're using?
They don't have state bid pricing on trucks right now. But this is, I went to Dodge and I went to Ford. Chevy, I don't agree with Chevy's cabs, the chassis for what we do. We have one, and it's powerless, and they don't have the engines we need to do the job. This truck also will have the braking that it should have for coming down the hills.
Is there any chance it's going to be on state bid again or not?
State bid, right now, there is, as I said, there is no trucks on state bid. We won't be able to tell. I did a couple places on the truck, and this Gordon Ford was the cheapest on a truck also. They are under state bid pricing, Ralph, as they were with the other truck that we replaced. So I'm pretty happy with what they're doing for us right now, especially being local, because other than that, I had to go over to Rochester to even spec out a truck if I wanted to see what it was. On the back, I also gave you paper on the whole back of the truck, the dump body, the lights, everything we would need, the plow, the 4-ton spreader, the plastic fenders to protect everything in the back. And that's where I came up with the cost.
All right, move on.
Contractual under that same code.
The contractual asphalt prices are going up because of the price of oil. I only did $500 more on that. Topsoil, there's a lot of areas that we have to topsoil. And last year we used that $800. We could have used a lot more for what we're doing. Safety equipment, that you'll notice a $1,300 increase in there. Flammable storage. The mandates that they're coming out with now is, you might not realize this, but we have to put windshield washer fluid in flammable storage containers now, cabinets, because it is flammable. So now we have to find room for it. Another thing that somebody's making, it's another mandate that somebody's making us abide by, but they don't supply funds to buy a cabinet to do that with. Gasoline, we went from if I put it in this paper.
Went to 350 from 329.
Right, right now, we're paying $3.29 a gallon. That's on the average for the since June 1st. We went to $3.50 on it, hoping that's enough.
Well, we already talked about the gas.
Right.
You're going to have to do some research.
Yes.
Okay.
I did do some asking around, and
Yeah.
that's what.
Do some more, and let's come up with it. I think we need I think it's going to be higher.
I'm hoping not.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
we hope, but I need to have a better
Right,
figure.
okay. The next thing we went up on was, we actually went down on the loader and backhoe repairs. I took $2,000 off of that, which I feel comfortable with because of the machines being their age, but I don't feel comfortable taking the whole amount out because something could happen, something in one of those breaks, it's a big dollar item to fix. You're probably talking $5,000 for a transmission if it goes in a loader, a big loader.
All right, let's go down to ceiling cracks.
Okay. Ceiling cracks, right now we have $7,000 in the budget. That is scheduled for the middle of April, is when we're scheduled to do $7,000 worth. Going around with a couple of contractors that do this, they feel confident that in 4 days we should get most of the village done, if not all of it done. So $7,000 is what it is in a day, per day, because they put it down by the gallon, is what they do. He assures me that he'll work 12 to 14 hours in a day to get it done, and we won't go over the gallonage, but we will get as much down as they can for a day. The place we're going to start right now is Main Street, and we'll work our way up on the north end to try and preserve those streets, like Cousins Avenue, Lake, Fort Putt, and work our way in that whole section that we did probably 11 years ago. So that's where we plan on starting.
Did we get any estimates on slurry seal?
Yes, but slurry seal is, we're still working on some stuff, but there's some other, first we have to do this, is what they told me.
First, okay.
Yes, this is the preservation.
Just that,
Yeah.
you know what I'm looking.
Yeah. But that's what that's. Fuel management system. That's good for auditing purposes. It's $12,000 item is what it is. But what will happen there is all the police officers, the fire department, the DPW, anybody that gets gas down there at the garage, will have their own fob and put in their own code to get gas down there. So there's more auditing to it. Myself and Walter just came up with a way to keep track of it better on a computer than what we used to, but this here would help a lot. The mafia blocks, as you saw down at the village garage, we did a lot of cleanup down there, and the one